Hello everyone. So let's begin with the Down to Earth magazine. And this is the analysis for the date 1st July to 15th July. So let's start. And the first theme is economy and social justice. So the first topic is the wealth gap reality. So here it is showing that how the current billionaires they have came to 3000. See here it is written 3025, and the national income is rising but the wage growth remains stagnant. So this is all about the issue of this article, or the core topic, or the core issue. Okay, so now you can address this in your mains answers and your essays, that yes, the global billionaires are rising, the national income is rising, but the wage growth it remains stagnant. Okay, so next is, here two things are given, that is traditional trickle down model and model multidimensional model. So what is traditional trickle down model? So here the goal is to maximize GDP. Then the assumption is that growth benefits all and the state role is limited intervention. Okay. But currently the modern multidimensional model is, the goal is human well-being and equity. The reality is wealth is concentrated at the top. So see here the assumption was that growth benefits all. So everybody assumes that. So yes, if there will be GDP growth, then the growth will benefit all. And here the reality is that the wealth is concentrated at the top. This is the reality, like we have seen in the Oxfam reports and all. Okay, it says that the top 1% it holds nearly 40%. I'm writing here, you can use it in your essays, that the top 1% it holds nearly 40% of the total wealth, and the bottom 50% they hold nearly 3% of the global or the total wealth. And this is from India's perspective. Okay, this is the Oxfam, I'm writing it here. Okay, that is top 1% holds 40% of the total wealth, and the bottom 50% it holds the 3% of the total wealth. So it shows the wealth inequality or the wealth gap concept here. Okay, so this is the first thing. Okay, now what is the next written in this article? So how the government should address this all? So the government can take inclusive actions, inclusive growth actions. So actions for inclusive growth. Now how inclusive growth can be achieved? So see, so there should be a holistic metric used alongside the GDP to measure development through human well-being, which is multidimensional poverty index. Okay, and remember that India's multidimensional poverty index it uses 12 indicators compared to the global multidimensional poverty index, which uses 10 indicators. Okay, and in India this multidimensional poverty index is published by Niti Aayog. Okay, and what are the extra two indicators in India's perspective is, first is the maternal health, and the second is bank account. So these are the important points, try to remember this. This is the from the global perspective, I'm writing here globally. Okay, yeah. So government can take actions for inclusive growth, like adopting a holistic metric, not only calculating the GDP. And next is by India regulating its digital and social welfare through JAM Trinity. So here it is given in the bottom, you can read here that India leverages the JAM Trinity. So what is JAM here? JAM, J is Jan Dhan, okay, and A is your Aadhaar, and M is mobile. So to integrate all these, and so through this the money can be sent to the beneficiaries and help the needed. Okay, so this is through the JAM Trinity, and like schemes through PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, these all could be adopted for inclusive expansion. And the last is, there is a need for strengthened state intervention. Okay, So see, here it is written, modern multidimensional model. So here state intervention is required, at least in the administrative purposes, like progressive taxation, fiscal redistribution, and universal basic services. So prioritizing the progressive taxation, fiscal redistribution, and universal access to healthcare and housing. So this can help in achieving the inclusive growth. Okay, so this much is all about this article, and it is completed. Now coming to the next topic. So what is this topic? It is recognition of unpaid care work, and this is the Supreme Court's judgment. Whose unpaid care work? It is about women's unpaid care work. So see, here it is written here, that is, women's unpaid caregiving contributes 15 to 17% of India's GDP but remains outside formal accounting. Okay, so it shows that the unpaid caregiving, it contributes 15 to 17% of India's GDP, but it is outside the formal accounting. That is, it is not considered as a work. As we all know that women's work is not considered or is not accounted under the definition of the work. So now, what is the concept here? So the Supreme Court of India recognizes unpaid domestic work as a vital economic contribution, and it tells rupees 30,000 monthly minimum notional income as the benchmark for homemakers. Okay, and he considered these homemakers as the nation builders. So the homemakers, I am writing here, Supreme Court considered the homemakers as the nation builders. Okay, so you can quote it in your mains answer writing and all, that who considered it? Supreme Court. So the court defines domestic labor as a contribution to the national economy. So this means that the court recognized domestic labor as a contribution to the national economy. So now, what is the main important news here? So the Supreme Court of India ruled that rupees 30,000 per month should be the minimum notional income for homemakers when calculating when will be it considered as the minimum notional income. So can we will we start giving it now? So no, it will be considered when calculating, I'm writing it here, when calculating motor accident compensation. Okay, so during this purpose only it will be accounted as rupees 30,000 monthly minimum notional income. So this recognizes that unpaid domestic labor is an essential economic contribution, and it is not just a service for financial dependents. Okay, and the next, this thing, it addresses which articles? So first is right to equality under Article 14, right to life and dignity under Article 21. Then is equal pay for equal work, Article 39D, that is the DPSP. Then is fundamental duties, Article 51A, Clause E, that is renounce practices derogatory to women. Okay, and here a fact is given, that is Mission Shakti. It is the umbrella scheme for women's empowerment. And you can remember this one, that Article 51AE, it mandates the citizens to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. So it is already written here. The same one is being repeated here. Okay, so this is all about this article. Nothing much more needed to learn about it. Coming to the next article. Okay, so this article is about illness linked suicides is escalating in India as a health crisis. Okay, so this is the main issue. So the total suicides in 2024 is about 30,611 lives claimed by illness. Okay, only due to illness these lives are claimed. So now illness is the second largest driver of suicide, 20% of all suicides. Okay, in the national scale. State focus, if we see, then Punjab is the most affected, over 50.4% of the suicides linked to illness. And the root cause is 95% of Punjab's illness suicides are tied to undiagnosed mental health conditions or depression. So what is the main root cause? That is undiagnosed mental health conditions or depression. This is the root cause. And a fact you can remember it is Telemanas is the national tele-mental health program, and it comes under the Mental Health Care Act, which was passed in 2017. So remember that it can come in the mains, that is Telemanas. So it is a national tele-mental health program. Okay. And for an MCQ fact, remember that the Punjab has the highest proportion of illness-linked suicides in India. It can also help in your mains answer writing. Now you can see here another mains point here, that is NCRB's ADSI report. Okay. So what is ADSI here? Accidental deaths and suicides in India. I'm writing it here otherwise. Accidental deaths and suicides in India. Okay. So it reports links the crisis to chronic diseases, an 85% mental health treatment gap in rural areas, and severe out-of-pocket agrarian distress. So what does this mean? So first of all, we already knew that depression and mental health conditions. The second is financial distress, okay, like any catastrophic health expenditures, and it stresses the agrarian families and leads or takes them to debt kind of situation. So it aggravates the psychological vulnerability. So like we say that someone is a farmer, okay, and some chronic disorder happens, chronic disease or something happens, then the farmer will take a debt, okay, and this debt will lead to any kind of psychological, we can say psychological illness or depression kind of situation. Now this again, it leads to suicide. Okay, so this is a trap kind of situation, and it continues and continues. So the last is of course the infrastructure gap, that is India faces an estimated 85%, okay, 85% treatment gap, mental health treatment gap. So mental health is not considered as a major issue, that is the problem. Okay, so we should recognize the mental health, and we should take steps, promote the infrastructure, build infrastructure and its access, okay, especially in the rural areas. So this much is all about this article. Coming to the next one. So the next theme is environmental governance and ecological crisis. So it will come under your GS paper 3. Okay. So what is the news here? So forest diversion in India. Okay. So forest diversion. Now what is this? So the 2.8 million trees approved for felling during the duration of 2023 to 2026. So 2.8 million. So it is a huge number that will impact the climate, that will impact the environment, that will impact the surrounding, and will have a overall associated phenomena that will adversely impact the economy and life and all. So 2.8% trees approved for felling. You can keep it as your mains fact. So see here, so what is to remember, that is mining, hydropower and rehabilitation, it accounts for 90% of tree felling. So mining, hydropower, rehabilitation. Remember these points, that which all causes account for main or the major proportion of the tree felling. So mining, hydropower, rehabilitation. High approval rates, that is 80% approval rate. It raises concern over environmental scrutiny. Then is a Hasdeo Arandh, that is in the Chhattisgarh, and the Kente extension mine are the epicenter of resistance threatening elephant corridors. So it impacts all the elephant corridors, wildlife, biodiversity. You can remember these. And a fact you can remember, that is Arunachal Pradesh, it saw highest felling approvals, that is more than 0.5 million. Article 48A, it directs state protection of forests, that is under DPSP. Okay, so it protects the forest. Now you can remember it from the MCQ perspective, that is Gram Sabha consent is mandatory for forest diversion under the Forest Right Act FRA 2006 and the PESA Act 1996. So yes, this can be a prelims question. So remember it, that is in case of any kind of forest diversion, So FRA, that is Forest Right Act, and PESA Act, their consent becomes mandatory. Okay, so remember it. And this is all about this article. Then this is the topic, that is a brick kiln compliance gap, air quality versus reality. So it is all about the brick kiln. Now, so what is the main concept here? So here one side is showing the ideal CAQM standards and the other side is showing the 70% reality. So this shows that despite a formal ban, brick kilns in the specifically in the NCR region, okay, that is a national capital region, it continued to rely on coal, failing to transition due to structural flaws, law of formal communication, and missing financial incentives. So this news here is first of all about the NCR, that is the national capital region, and how they rely on the coal. That is, we can see that the transition is failing transition, and this is because of structural flaws, formal communication, and missing financial incentives. So this is the issue here. So see, it is written here that structural barriers to transition include lack of formal communication regarding coal bans and zero financial incentives for gas or biomass adoption. Then here, see, the ideal CAQM standards are like mandatory environmental greenery required for all the kilns and all. And the 70% reality you see here, that is 118 out of 152 surveyed kilns, they lack green cover. Okay, so this is very important from a means perspective. Remember it. Now CAQM, it is a statutory body established in 2021 to manage NCR air quality. Now the zigzag technology's primary benefit is improving combustion efficiency and lowering the particulate emissions. So this is all about this article. Now coming to the next one. So next is Ganga's hidden fluorinated threat at deep dive. So it is telling that the forever chemicals, these are a hidden crisis in the Ganga. That is the invisible environmental threat. Okay, the forever chemicals. So see, here it is written, hidden reservoirs of forever chemicals re-enter water during the floods. Okay. So traditional monitoring, it misses 99% of the unidentified fluorinated compounds. So these fluorinated compounds, they are treated as, or they are known as, these forever chemicals. Now one of the strongest bonds in organic chemistry making degradation impossible, that is the chlorine and the fluorine bond. So this one, that is the chlorine and the fluorine bond, it is the strongest bond in organic chemistry which makes degradation impossible. Okay. And the fact is that India currently lacks national standards for PFAS. And for EOF, that is extractable organic fluorine analysis, is required to measure the total fluorine burden. So PFAS are considered as forever chemicals due to their extremely strong chlorine-fluorine bond resisting environmental degradation. So now this PFAS, so these are per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. I am writing it here better. See, first I am changing the color, else it will not be visible. Yeah, so I am writing it here. That is per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Okay. Yeah, so PFAS. So now these PFAS, remember that these are considered as the basically we know that these are considered as the forever chemicals. Now why forever chemicals? Now what is the meaning of these forever chemicals? So these forever chemicals are those those chemical they have the chemical structure that prevents them from breaking down naturally, leading to decadal persistence. So their chemical structure, it prevents them from breaking down naturally. Like here it is written, degradation is impossible. Okay, so this is the chlorine and fluorine bond, and it is a threat to the Ganga. Okay, so this is the issue here. Now the next is Asia's plastic river funnel, a global marine crisis and accountability. So see here it is written that is 80% of all the marine litter is plastic. Remember it. It can help in your mains answer writing. 103 of the top 112 polluting rivers are in Asia itself. 20 rivers predominantly in Asia Channel, 67% of global riverine plastic. So these are the main pointer you can remember this. Now, the transboundary threat means even uninhabited islands like Lakshadweep accumulate microplastics. Okay. This is the transboundary threat. India is drafting a national marine litter policy targeting the Ganga basin. The next is here a solution, that is mitigation is possible. Trash booms in Mumbai's Mithi River and community segregation by Ruka in Chennai. Now, first of all, remember the difference between mitigation and adaptation. So, mitigation is like you address the root cause of the problem and reduce it. But adaptation is like we adjust to live with the impacts, adverse impacts. That we basically address the symptoms and the impacts. So, this is the difference between mitigation and adaptation. I am writing it here. See, mitigation is dealing with the root cause, okay, and to reduce it. Okay, reduce the root cause. But adaptation is like adapting with the problems. We adapt with the problems, we try to live with the problems, and that is addressing the symptoms and the impacts. Okay, so this is adaptation. So remember this difference. And the next is SDG 14, it targets life below water, and there is an ELSA 3 SIPREC 2025 which released plastic nodules of Kerala. Okay, so remember that SDG 14, it targets life below water. It will help in your mains answer writing. So these all are the basic pointers you should remember. First of all, that is 80% of all marine litter is plastic. 103 of the top 112 polluting rivers are in Asia. 20 rivers predominantly in Asia, the channel 67% of the global riverine plastic. Then there is a transboundary threat. As an example, we can say that Lakshadweep, it accumulates microplastics. And the last, remember that this SDG, and all other facts you can remember it. So the next theme is industrial and agricultural resilience. Now what all to remember from this? So see, first of all, the context is that LAC is LAC. Okay, LAC is world's only commercially exploited animal derived resin, and it supports 3 to 4 million tribal families. Okay, so LAC here is basically a kind of, we can say, I am writing it here, it is basically a kind of latex. Okay, so here we can see vulnerability versus resilience. So what is the vulnerability to these LAC production? First is heat waves. The second is distorted male-female insect ratio, that is only female produce commercial resin. Okay, then is plunging LAC yields. Okay, that is a reducing LAC yields. And resilience is that what can we do? The LAC revolution, which we say. Okay, so elevating LAC to full agricultural status, implementing MSP, minimum support price, adopting climate resilient host plants for drought tolerance. Okay, and the fact is to remember that Jharkhand contributes to 54% of India's LAC production. Remember it, it is very important. It can come in prelims. So Jharkhand contributes 54% of the India's LAC production. The major paste is Aprostocatus purpuris. And another fact is that Jharkhand is the leading producer of the LAC. So, and the major is that LAC is the world's only commercially exploited animal derived resin, which supports 3 to 4 million tribal families. So this is all about this LAC. So the next topic is customized CSR for the coal mining sector. Okay, so what is all about this topic? So let's see. So customized CSR forces the coal sector to internalize its environmental and social externalities rather than viewing CSR as mere philanthropy. So see here, first it is given that why this is in news. So the Union Ministry of Coal, remember the Union Ministry of Coal, I am writing it here. Okay, Union Ministry of Coal. So is drafting. So it is in the drafting phase. Remember it. drafting a sector specific CSR framework. Sector specific CSR, that is corporate social responsibility framework, to address the unique social and environmental challenges. Now this will address the unique social and environmental challenges. Like we have mining, land degradation, tribal displacement. So these are the major problems. Now what are the major social and environmental problems? Like we have mining, then we have land displacement, or we can say tribal displacement. Then we have degradation of land. So these are the basics, the major social and environmental challenges. So these will be addressed by this sector specific CSR, which is being drafted by the Union Ministry of Coal. So this is the major issue or the major topic or the major concern in this article. So now this Coal India Limited plus IICA, it is drafting the framework, and 2% of the average net profits mandates, that is Companies Act 2023, it regulates the CSR, that is 2% of their average net profit of any company or organization. Okay, and these are eligible for CSR. Now targeted spend is rehabilitation, tribal welfare, mine closure restoration, and the oversight is digital KPI based reporting portal aligned with UN SDGs. Now the fact is that CSR is mandatory for net worth that is more than or equal to rupees 500 crore or whose turnover is more than or equal to rupees 1000 crore. So it is mandatory for them. The green credit framework will integrate into the final model. And remember that Coal India Limited is primarily responsible for drafting the new coal sector CSR framework. So this is all about this article. And coming to the last theme, that is technological disruption. So this will help you in GS paper 3. So what is the news all about? So new majority, that is bots versus human. So what is the news here? So automated bot traffic has surpassed human traffic, driven the rise of AI assistants and answer engines. So we now have, what all do we use? ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. So these are the search engines or the answer engines, we can say. Not the search, these are the answer engines. We ask them questions and they answers. Okay. And these are basically called as the zero click internet. So where the user, they receive information directly from AI, threatening the traffic and revenue of original content publishers. So this threatens the traffic and the revenue of the original content publishers. So this is all about this article. So see here, automated bots, that is 57.5% of the web requests. Okay. High server load, that is 51% origin access. Activity, that is 24/7 continuous operation AI crawlers are features. And here humans, that is human users, 42.5% of the web requests. Low server load, that is less than 9% origin access, and activities daily or weekly patterns. So you have a query, what is zero click internet, it is shown here. You can very easily visualize it. That is, you have a query, you ask the question, now AI answers it in its answer engine. Now you don't have to go to the original publishing website. You can ask the AI and AI will analyze it and answer it. So the consequence is critical revenue loss for content creators. Okay. Now, what is the fact here? That is Claude related traffic surged more than 555% in early 2026. Data protection governed by DPDP. Okay. That is Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So this governs the data protection. Now, to remember is that zero-click internet, it refers to AI systems providing answers directly bypassing source website. So we do not go to the source website to ask anything. We can directly ask to the AI and AI will analyze and answer it. Okay. So this is the context here. So let's see a quick revision. That is, we read about the article, this is about the unpaid work of women, that is article 39D, equal pay for equal work, article 51A clause E, that is renounce derogatory practices, article 48A, that is protect forests. Then we have economics and statistics, that is 3000 plus global billionaires in 2025, and 15 to 17% GDP is from unpaid care value. Then is environment, that is CAQM, it is a statutory body established in 2021. Then we learnt about the CF bond, that is indestructible, that is a chlorine and fluorine bond. This is the CF here is chlorine and fluorine bond, which is indestructible PFAS, that is a forever chemicals, and EOF, that is fluorine measurement category. Now, in the geography and agriculture, we learnt about 50% the lag production is in Jharkhand. 20 Asian rivers account for 67% of ocean plastic. Arunachal Pradesh, it is equal to highest tree felling. Okay, so the highest tree felling is in Arunachal Pradesh. And yeah, here geography and agriculture also, that is it has been repeated here. You can just see it. And the act and schemes, that is Telemanas, mental health, Mission Shakti is for women, DPDP Act for digital governance, and FRA 2026 for Gram Sabha consent. Okay. Yeah. And this is for what? For what we have remembered? Like we have remembered it for diversion of forest. Diversion of forest. Okay. Yeah. And here you have some MCQs. You can see it. And if you want this PDF, then comment me in the comment section. I will provide you this PDF. And like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, guys. The more you will give your attention and your interest, the more I will be motivated to make videos. And this is the first video of this down to earth July 1st to 15th, and we will have another video, and in these two videos we will complete the 1st July to 15th July down to earth magazine. So yeah, I will come with the second video. So thank you.